So your grip can be too weak, too strong, too weak in one hand, too strong in the other, vice versa. How do you know which one to fix? It's just weaker the grip, harder it is to square the club face. That's why we need to look at this and go, it's not about terminology. In this concept video, we're going to talk about grip strength. What does it mean to have a strong grip or a weak grip? How do I know if I need to change it? What difference does it make? Let's just have a chat about this. We'll see what's going on. So if you're new to golf, you've heard probably this term weak grip or strong grip, and you're going, I don't even know what that means. Generally, strong grip means one or both hands are turned more to your right if you're a right-handed golfer, vice versa. Weak grip, hands are turned more this way. So where does that term come from? Strong versus weak doesn't make any sense. And what you're really looking at is, if we call this a square club face because the leading edge is somewhat vertical right now from my perspective, if I get the club face more closed at impact, that actually puts less loft on the club. So therefore, the loft is stronger. If I have the face more open at impact, the loft is weaker. Ball's going to go more to the right, higher. This one's going to go straighter, normal trajectory. This one's going to go further, lower trajectory. So that's what really strong and weak grips are meaning, is how does my grip affect the loft of the club face at impact. So let's take kind of a close-up look at how I can close this club face differently with a different grip. So let's call that a vertical grip. We'll just put that here. So you see the face is hopefully pretty close to vertical, this leading edge. So to close the club face, I'm going to use what's called axial rotation. I'm going to rotate the axis of the grip. That closes, that opens. So with a neutral grip, and you should try this yourself, maybe we'll start with it open, just sum them out and go, okay, how much effort does it take to square the face? Now let's go to a very weak grip. So this hand's like 45 degrees rotated that way, and we'll open the face a little bit, and then you'll feel that your body's going to run out of range of motion, or sorry, your arm's going to run out of range of motion. So if you try to do that fast, you go, boy, it's so much easier for me to open the face with this hand because I got more range of motion to go this way. I've got less range that way. Same thing with the bottom hand. If I go really weak, I'm trying to do this with my hand, but I have no range of motion left. So you can see I have very little influence on face rotation. But if I went right palm under, I can rotate this like more than 90 degrees, like 120 degrees perhaps. Right hand strong. I can barely touch it. So that should give you some idea on why this is important to have a certain grip style depending on what your ball flight's doing and what your club face delivery is at impact. So what we've seen from 3D analysis is that generally the better ball strikers in the world are going to close the club face earlier in the downswing to allow better sequencing, more shaft lean, etc., through impact, better ball strike. So then the question may be, how do I know if I need to change my grip? Which hand should I change? Basically, you're going to go by ball flight. If you're leaving the club face open a lot, that would tell you I'm having a problem squaring the club face. Otherwise, I'm looking at body delivery. Am I trying to get my body more open? Am I trying to get more shaft lean? If I'm trying to get the more shaft lean, I've got to get the club face closed earlier, or my brain will not allow me to get the shaft lean because I'm trying to get the club face squared up. Vice versa, If you see that you have almost no shaft lean at impact, your body's stalling out and you can't rotate, it's because your brain's trying to close the club face in a different way, which we'll get into in another video on different ways people use to square the club face. But in general, if we're looking at top of swing, some position up here, we'll see the better players are going to handle twist some amount, either into backswing or in transition, which requires a certain type of grip. And again, everybody's different. You can look at, like, Morikawa has a really weak top hand and a kind of a slightly strong trail hand. But you need to experiment with different grips, especially if you're getting a ball flight you don't like, and go, which hand needs to be changed to alter how I want to square this club face. And then realizing now that if we look at anatomy, if you rotate both hands 45 degrees over here, I've got more range of motion to go in the closure direction. If I rotate both hands over here and then hold a golf club, I've got very little range of motion. So here's a good little experiment for you to do, and you might be a lot more flexible than me, but let's simulate a near top of swing position. And it'd be easier for you to do this if you can see yourself in a mirror, so you can see at least the club. So I want to have this club face start to twist in a direction that I can see more of this face in the camera. That's me early squaring the face. By the way, if you see from a normal top of swing position, from this perspective, if you see this at the top of the swing, you might be in big trouble. If we have it kind of where you can't see any of the grooves or the club face, it'd be kind of an old school neutral. And if we see a little bit more of the face, that's getting the club face more square. But what you want to do is take your normal grip and go to this position and go, if I just try to do that, which now you see I've closed the face, is either hand fighting me right now to make this more difficult? And that will give you an idea of if it's both hands you need to change, left hand or right hand, so that you can get this grip squared up sooner.